I honestly thought that running my own supermarket would be a stroll through the aisles, but it is a little bit more complex than that. If you're just about to pick up Discounty for the first time, then I've got you covered, as here are some hints, tips, and just generally things that I wish I had known before I opened this game for the first time. If you want more content like this, don't forget to like and also subscribe. And if you have any other hints you want to share with your fellow community members, please drop them in the comments below. But let's get into this. When you first start up the game, you are thrown straight into character customization, and I always think that character customization can be a little bit daunting when you first start. However, do not stress. If you aren't happy with your appearance, you will be able to change it later on in your home, or should I say trailer. There is a very big mirror on the wall on the right hand side of your kitchen. You really cannot miss it. So if you wake up one morning and decide you need to change, you can do that. Upon arrival into your store, one of your first tasks will be setting down your shelves and then your produce. This is totally optional, but I did find that keeping these areas organized did help me immensely. For example, within my storeroom, I decided to try and keep all of my cool products together, all of my produce together, so that if I am quickly dashing to refill something, my memory kind of knows that I have to go to one particular area. Your shop layout will change over time, but grouping types of products together will help you and your memory. One of the main duties of running your shop is, of course, keeping the shelves filled with products for your customers. I highly recommend that you do this while the shop is closed. You have a few hours in the morning before you open, or you can do this after your shop closes at 5 p.m. I personally found that I prefer doing this in the evening, as you have quite a lot of free time before you need to head to bed. When doing this, I would restock all my shelves and then identify which products I was low on and get them delivered as soon as possible. I found that doing it this way was the best method, so that in the morning I could come into the shop and it was all ready to open. I would not recommend trying to order items or doing any major restocking whilst the shop is open, as it may become a little bit overwhelming trying to juggle everything and you don't want angry customers. Early on in the game, you will only have access to basic shelves. As you progress, you will find that there are fancy shelves and boosters that you can use to boost your sales. However, if you are in the very early stages of the game, you can still do this little trick that will help boost your likelihood of items being sold. And all you have to do is kind of put down 2 basic shelves and spread out your stock of items. You do not just have to put down one of each item. Having lots of different options for your customers, even if it is the same product, means that they have a higher chance of making impulse purchases. As you have probably noticed, they do have lists, but there is the opportunity for them to purchase off of these lists, and by spreading things around, you're kind of enticing them to make these sales. This is also good if you are running low on stock for a day, so you can split your produce so that you have no empty shelves, because if you have empty shelves, that means there's definitely not going to be a sale. As you get more shelving items and more stock, you will soon figure out that the layout of your shop is very important. As I say, customers will have lists and they can make impulse purchases. So if you lay out the shelves in the way that they have to see as many items as possible, you will increase the likelihood of purchases. It is also a good idea to slow down the path and the routes that your customers can take, so that they have to look at as many items as possible, meaning their chances of making an impulse purchase is also increased. One of the ways that I found to do this was try and slow down the path to getting to the checkout by putting shelves in the way a little bit, so that they have to kind of peruse them and maybe make an extra purchase. The shop official opening time is 9 a.m, but you do not have to wait until this time naturally in the game. You can actually trigger it by clicking the sign at the very entrance or via your computer. It is worth knowing that whilst working a shift in your shop, you can also have items in your pockets ready to swoop in and restock. If you notice something is selling really fast, it's a wise idea to actually have them on hand ready to go to save you running back to your stock room. In fact, you can actually have items in your pockets overnight or when you leave the shop because the food items or the products don't spoil. This is a good thing to remember just in case you pick up some items from maybe a trader and you don't want to walk all the way back to the shop then to just head to bed. Although it is a little bit weird if you are sleeping with 20 fish sticks when you think about it, but it is for the good of discounty. If you have seen some gameplay of the game, you might be thinking you need to be good at maths. Well, actually, no, you don't. It is explained to you very early on that if a customer buys multiple items, then you can type in the multiplication sum into the calculator and it will do the hard work for you. If it was a basic multiplication that I knew the answer to, I would just type in the total number and then move on. I just found that this speeded up the process a lot more as you don't want to kind of make your customers angry and we want to get through as many as possible. Keeping your shop clean is also very important. If your shop is starting to look a little bit busy, then you can sprint around the shop using the shift key if you're playing on keyboard, and if you notice any areas that are a bit harder to find, there might be a dirt spot under them. You can also move the bucket. You can just hold it and then pick it up like any other item and then just move it a little bit closer to the actual store area just to speed things up a little bit. Over time, you unlock the discount reward system in your computer, and this is where you can unlock new produce and also special tools to assist in your supermarket endeavors, such as extra pocket space and a checkout scanner. These tasks are generally quite straightforward and they're broken down into a weekly task and daily tasks. It is really worth checking these tasks every day in the morning to see what they are, and if you need to, you then have time to, for example, adjust your stock levels or make some orders. When you get a notification you have completed a task, remember to visit the computer again and spend your rewards. If you're not sure what to spend your rewards on, I would recommend investing in more variety in your shop, as this will encourage customers to buy more items, which means more shills. Another thing you should be working towards unlocking is the scanner. This one does cost a lot of redeem points, but it's worthwhile being patient to try and get your hands on this one, as it speeds up the checkout process greatly. The scanner is a little bit confusing at first, but when you're playing on keyboard and mouse, you need to look at where the barcode on the item is and the direction which it is facing. The barcode direction will then be dependent on your WASD keys. So if the barcode is at the top, for example, you press W and then click the item to scan. It took me a little while to get my head around it, but once I started, I couldn't be stopped. Customers' happiness does play a part in the game, and it will be detailed at the end of day report. If you happen to notice that a customer is walking around with a question mark over their head, this usually means that they want an item that is not in stock. If you see this and you have the items in your storage, you can quickly refill the shelves, or if you have none left, you should go ahead and speak with the customer to tell them that the item is out of stock, so they aren't left wandering around your shop getting angry. Customers also have personalities. Some of them have less of a tolerance and can get mad quite easily, and some of them walk very slowly. I'm looking at you, Mrs. Anderson. Because of this, it is worthwhile paying attention to your customers and be a bit more attentive to those that are a little bit impatient. For example, don't go off restocking your shelves when you have someone who is impatient waiting to check out. Your happiness scores will become important in Chapter 2, so it is worthwhile getting practicing. When it comes to ordering items, pay attention to what you are ordering. I made a rookie mistake. Maybe I didn't read it all that well, but I jumped straight in and accidentally ordered a lot of stock early on, and to this day, I'm still trying to get rid of those apples. When you are ordering a whole stack of that item, so be mindful of this in your storeroom, as it will get pretty full if you order willy-nilly. You'll also be wanting to save some of your money for shopping and expanding, so don't go thinking I have all the money in the world and just spend it. As the deliveries are pretty quick, if you are running low on an item or you're not sure if that's going to be enough to get you through the next day, then maybe just order one stack, but you can always quickly buy more at the end of the day if needed. Also, when the delivery guy shows up in the truck, pay close attention to the poster on the wall, as this is a countdown until he leaves. He won't be staying around forever, so you're best off grabbing all of the items and rearranging them later if you like to have an organized stock room. You were introduced to the recycling machine at the back of your shop pretty early on, and this is a good way to earn extra money. I have found the best way to manage this and prevent mixed stacks, which need to go in the trash, is to save up some of my boxes of the particular type and then recycle them all in one go. This way I don't forget what box I've already put in the recycling machine. You can also pick up the empty boxes and move them around your storeroom if you want to stay organized. One way to help get more customers into your shop is to print posters. At first I was kind of sleeping on this, but overall I have definitely found it useful. The lowest poster level does, however, take 8 hours to print, so it is worthwhile always having the posters being printed, and then you can go and grab them when you need them, as they do decay when they've been placed over time. The posters will have a huge boost on the number of customers who come into your store, so check them regularly to see if they've disappeared. This does also show on your end of day report. You can see how many posters you have active. If you need a reminder of the poster locations, they can be found at 3 locations: the inn, the bus stop, and also the harbour. Be careful when you are putting the posters down though, because you can put more than one on each board. If you put the poster over to the side, this means that you'll be guaranteed to be able to get another one. Don't put them in the middle. As you progress, you will unlock trade deals with vendors that are spread throughout BlonQuest, and you will need to remember to revisit these to purchase the stock and also to upgrade your trade deals and unlock new perks. When you are viewing the trade deal itself, it does tell you what day they restock, so you may want to make a note of this so you do not miss out on the ability to purchase more items. When doing your perks, be sure to unlock the perk before you buy the new stock. I made this mistake of unlocking the ability to upgrade the amount of item that you receive from the trade. However, I did this after I'd bought the stock, so instead of getting 20, I actually only got 10, which obviously draws out the process of upgrading your trade deals even more. In order to get your shop looking good, you are going to have to invest, so I make it part of my daily routine to visit both shops. In the hardware store, you will find that as you progress, new types of shelves will become available. There are shelves which are deeper, meaning that they will allow you to display more items, which means that there'll be less frantic restocking, and the other shelves will make items more appealing to be bought. If you want to learn more about the shelves, you can hover over them in the shop to see what effects they have. Booster items are also really worth investing in, as they boost the sales of a specific item type within the placement area. Booster items are for sale at the hardware shop and they rotate daily, so if you see a new kind of booster item available, I recommend that you purchase it, as it will come in handy later. When placing your booster item down, you'll want to maximize the coverage in your shop. You will see that there is a little grid area around this item, and these are the spots where the shelves will be boosted if you place them here. You will want to arrange your shop to ensure maximum coverage, and if you have purchased some of the fancier shelves, I would recommend putting them alongside your boosted ones, as these will make them appeal even more to customers. And if you have popular items, you'll have less restocking tips to make if you put the deeper ones here as well. The antique shop is the second shop, and although they have some pretty furniture pieces and wallpaper and flooring, they do not seem to have a huge impact on your customers, at least not early on anyway. I would recommend prioritizing investing in shelving and boosters over the aesthetic things. Does this mean that I have not purchased any wallpaper? Of course not. I do have a nice collection of wallpaper, and of course the Daisy one is my favorite. If you do not have the inventory space when shopping, you can have items to deliver from either the antique shop to the hardware shop. These are then stored at the delivery area behind your shop, and it is a good way to leave items. You don't have to kind of go and pick them up straight away. You can always grab them at a later date if you're running low on storage space. You do have to pay a premium for this, but I don't think 10 shills is too bad. Aside from your shop, you should keep recycling to earn a little bit of extra money. Teller does tell you early on that if you see rubbish, you should pick it up. And if you want to track how much rubbish you have collected, you can go into your PDA and there is a plastic bag app. This way you know if it's worth making a trip to the recycling machine. Also remember that if you need to speak to a specific person, you may find them on the map app and you can easily track them. I love that they have added this, and I wish this was a staple in all cozy games that have a map like this. When running around town, you will also frequently see things that have a yellow outline to them. This means that you can interact with that particular item and then it will unlock a cutscene for you to learn a little bit more lore about the townspeople you're living with. Some of these have been really great and they kind of do give you that deeper insight into the characters, which is always appreciated. There is a day to night cycle in this game, and generally I didn't find myself struggling too much with this, but if you are out late at night, you will receive a warning at 11 p.m. to head to bed. If you don't make it to bed before midnight, you are automatically transported home and you'll wake up at 6 a.m. and you'll be able to start your day as usual. It didn't appear that there was any form of penalty for this, which is good to know. The shop is not open 7 days a week and you'll actually have a day off on Sunday. This is a welcome break where you can get yourself caught up on quests, explore a bit and do whatever you need to do. I found that this was a good time to do some full-on reorganizing of your shop as you don't have the time pressures of opening or heading to bed. Obviously, this is optional, and if you just want to skip through the day, I guess you could do that too. So there we have it. There are over 25 tips and things to get you started in Disc County. As I said earlier, if you have anything that you might think is helpful for other players, feel free to leave it in the comments. Have a great rest of your day and enjoy running your supermarkets. Bye bye.